like to call this meeting to order at 5:31. Let's rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance, Shirley.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to meeting minutes. May I get an motion to approve the trustee meeting minutes for September 24th, 2024 meeting?
I motion that we accept the meeting minutes from September 24th.
A motion made by Aisha. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second. All in favor? Go ahead and vote. Is it registered? Okay. The new system, we're still getting used to it. Okay, moving on to, it was approved 5-0. Moving on to the consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine matters. Status reports, documents covering previous library board of trustee items. The items listed in the consent calendar may be elected in one motion with the concurrence of the library board of trustees, or any person in attendance may request for anything to be removed for further consideration. Ms. Backus, are there any speaker cards?
No speaker cards from the public.
Okay. Was anybody would like to pull anything? May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I move we approve the consent calendar.
May I have a second?
I second.
All right, let's vote. All right, it approved. Communication from the public. Ms. Backus, any communication from the public?
No communications from the public.
I would really like to encourage the public to start attending our meetings. We're here on the fourth Tuesday of every month, 5:30 p.m. And it's a great opportunity to check out and see all the amazing programs that we have at your library. We would love to hear from you, input, any questions or concerns. So please come next month. Moving on to the youth update. No. Okay, we don't have any youth update. Administrative reports. First item, strategic plan.
Good evening, Madam Chair and trustees. And so I'm going to give a little introduction to Debbie Joy. She is meeting with us virtually because she is currently in, I believe, the Midwest, also helping other libraries as well. And so Debbie has over 10 years of experience in marketing, planning, and developing libraries. And we are working with her in Library IQ to create a strategic plan for the Corona Public Library by using our focus groups and surveys and other avenues that I believe that some of you were a part of. So Debbie?
Hi, everyone. It's good to see you. It's been a while. It's a pleasure to be with you virtually tonight. I'm actually in the suburb of Detroit. So I'm in the Motor City, and we are working with another library. I did want to just take a minute to thank all of you as library leaders for your insight, for your input. We are very excited about the plan. The staff at Corona Public Library, I can say with honesty and sincerity, is one of just the kindest that I've ever worked with. Danielle is an amazing leader, and so we really want to thank everyone for a super positive experience. It was just a lot of fun for us, so thank you. We're very excited about the plan, and I trust that you all have had a moment to take a look at it. Has anyone not had a chance to review the plan? Looks like we all have. So I will go ahead and share my screen. We just have a few slides to walk through talking about our process. So here we go. I can't, I'm only on one little screen tonight, so I can't see all of you very well, especially on this little screen. So if anyone has any comments or questions as we walk through these slides, please just speak up. I can't always see if you're raising your hand, as mentioned. So thanks again to everyone. We're excited about this plan, and we're more than that, we're really excited about the future for the Corona Public Library and honestly, downtown Corona. Our goal, let's get this over a little bit. There we go. So our goal was to create a very dynamic, very flexible plan to help guide the library in its decision-making for the next 3 to 5 years. The plan, as I'm sure you've noticed, is pretty front-loaded. So we found that we have the best success when we kind of take things on as best as we can during the first 3 years. You all, as library leaders, can rest assured that this plan is absolutely informed by and grounded in lots of community input and lots of data analysis. So we really did try to strike the balance between the art and the science of strategic planning. All right, there we go. So we had, as I'm sure you recall, we had a multi-prong approach. Primarily, we have, let's see if I can move this little guy again. There we go. 3 really big phases, and the fourth phase, of course, was delivery. So the first phase was discovery and analysis. We took a very careful look at the library's current operations. That includes statistics, collection performance, you name it. We looked at key ratios. We benchmarked with other libraries, peer libraries for Corona Public Library. We also benchmarked against state and national averages for libraries serving the same size population. And that was really important because it's really helpful to Danielle and her team to have an understanding of how other public libraries are operated, how they're funded, and what environment they are operating in. One piece of data I think is important to note for Corona is when it comes to collection size per capita, you may remember this from our discovery presentation, we were a little lower in collection size per capita than some other peer libraries or state and national averages. Our second phase was community engagement, and that's where a lot of us met in person last summer. We worked really closely with Danielle and her staff, lots and lots of phone calls, had great input from staff through staff workshops. We did focus tightly on equity, and we wanted to make sure we were reaching everyone in the community as best as possible. And so with some really great support from the city created a website, created a video. We were super successful in that way. And we had focus groups, again, that some of you attended, very well attended focus groups. We got lots of great information from those. And then finally, we put all of that together into what we call our discovery presentation. And so that's where all of that data and analysis lives. The process was really collaborative. It was very important that we work closely with folks on the ground, including the city and, of course, the library. And it was iterative, so there was a lot of back and forth, and that's a really good thing. That's what we want. That's how we get to a plan that reflects local needs and desires for the library. We wanted to make sure access was equitable, and finally, we drafted goals and objectives for the library. We went back and forth. So we started with Danielle. She gave us her feedback. Then we went out to what we called the strategic planning team. So that was folks, library leaders and staff. Then we worked with the city and got their feedback. And so the document that you all see really reflects collaboration and input from all the stakeholders. We were constantly talking, evaluating, and adjusting as we went. So our research process was pretty specific, and it was specific on purpose. We wanted to look not just at what the library could look like in 5 years. We want to project ahead and help the library prepare for the future. But we also wanted to understand what would the city of Corona look like, and how could the library best support the city and its residents. So we did some research on demographics, very, very deep analysis of consumer segmentation in the community that's available through the Library IQ software analytics platform. So we know a whole bunch, not just about library patron households, but about all the households in Corona. So that's really helpful to Danielle and her team as they do marketing, as they plan programs, and things of that nature. Secondly, we wanted to figure out how can library services evolve to meet those community needs that are also evolving at the same time. We talked a little bit about the methods that we use to gather that information, so I won't go back over that again. And then finally, we said, okay, what are the gaps in resident amenities and services that are within the library's ability and purview to address, and what strategic goals would help the library meet those needs effectively? That's where a whole bunch of data analysis came in, a lot of synthesis of information, and then a lot of that back and forth that I talked about a minute ago. Ideas and feedback were gathered from nearly 2,000 residents. So that is just tremendous, fantastic. I can't speak highly enough of it. Participation from the public and from stakeholders. So as I said, the city put together an incredibly attractive, really well done website, and it hosted our survey, and it also asked for folks' big ideas about the library. They made a beautiful video, and I was actually thinking about you all today and thinking it would be awesome if the city and marketing continued to partner with the library in that way. More than 1,700 responses to the survey. That's fantastic in a community the size of Corona. 59 responses to the big idea, 33 social media comments, lots of people at focus groups. We had more than 10 one-to-one interviews, staff workshop. We harvested data from the U.S. Census. We did the community and consumer segmentation that I just talked about. And then the benchmarking against state and national averages. That data comes from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, which is the federal agency that oversees and funds public libraries. A lot of that comes through the state library in California. So then we jumped right into the goals and objectives in the plan. We came up with 4 goal areas, and so we'll walk through those a little bit right now, but I really would, again, encourage you all, if you have any questions or comments, please speak up and let us know, and otherwise we'll just kind of walk through these pretty quickly. These goals and objectives were informed by that data analysis and the public input that I talked about. It was fairly clear by the end of the process what the goals should be. So we didn't, and that's really fortunate. That's what we want. We want the data and analysis to point to very specific goals, and that's what happened in this case. So number 1, we really want to take a look at that collection and library services. So as I mentioned, if you look at the data, we were, when it comes to both electronic and physical titles. We were a little below averages on the amount of budget we were spending and the number of titles that we had. So we want to improve access to the physical and electronic collections. We want to have a little bit bigger selection for our residents. We took a look at the electronic collection. That is a very fast-growing area for public libraries, and we want to make sure that it's really accessible and really easy to use, especially in a community like Corona, where folks are driving to work, they're driving their kids to school. Having the ability to listen to titles in the car while you're commuting is really important. Access to ebooks is really important. We want to access materials, especially electronic materials, through a larger network. So how can we partner with other libraries to get more access? We want to implement data-driven collection development practices. We detail that in the plan. Always, 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 it's our bread and butter. We want to focus on early literacy and help ensure kids enter school ready to read. How can we do that? How can we amplify those services through partnership and provide literacy support and opportunities for families? So that's goal area number 1. Any questions or comments there? All right. Goal number 2, innovative spaces. So the city and the library are very fortunate to have some funding to take a look at the library facility. Currently, some of that work is already underway. So Danielle, I believe, is working on some plans for the adult area of the library. And then there's an opportunity to create what we're calling an innovation center in the library. So that's really, really exciting. Before we make any of those changes, we want to understand how the library facility is currently being used. And we do that just really going back to basics with looking at head count and asking people during a discrete period of time, what brought you to the library today? We definitely want to align with the city economic development department and their strategic goals, one of which is to encourage placemaking and community. The library is so incredibly well suited to do that. How can we step in? We want to provide very focused and limited, because it's expensive, but very high value consumer facing technology, and that's detailed in the plan. Want to position the library as the place to go in Corona for tech access and support. So when we're thinking about tech in Corona, we want the library to be top of mind. Certainly we have a tech fluency gap, so we can call that digital literacy. There's lots of different kind of names for it, but we want residents to feel very comfortable in emerging tech, and so how can the library help support that? Well, one way is to ensure that staff have a very clear understanding of customer-facing technology. We don't want to drop the ball when it comes to tech training for staff and for library leaders. And sometimes library leaders need time to be thoughtful and to think about, okay, what are some new areas that the library could get involved in with respect to tech, and to research and explore those, and then to provide, try to move this little guy, modern and efficient library facilities. And so that is a strategy that encompasses some of the work that I talked about a few minutes ago. So does anyone have any questions or comments about innovative spaces? All right, we'll keep rolling. Goal number 3, community gathering. We heard loud and clear from the community in Corona that people want a place to go and gather in person. So some of the things, we read about our society as a whole, that people, especially post-pandemic, are feeling a little bit lonely and they want to get back together in person, and that is true in Corona. So how can the library be that community and neighborhood hub? Well, number 1, we want to align again with the City Economic Development Department and support the idea that the city of Corona is safe, it's vibrant, and it's family friendly. And again, the library is already doing that and very well positioned to keep doing it more. We want to make accessing library services easy. So how can we remove barriers to use of the library so we get more folks engaged? We want to support life skills and healthy living. That is something that we heard very loud and clear from the community that they want. Cooking, not financial planning, but things like balancing a checkbook, things of that nature. Folks are super interested in skills like that. And we want to align with the city's economic development department's goal of elevating entrepreneurs and small business. So how can the library help be a good partner and provide resources for those folks? And then finally, enhance communication and connection among residents. Again, the library is incredibly well positioned to do that. So we'll pause there. Anyone have any questions or comments about community gathering? And Danielle, I apologize, I should have said this earlier, but Danielle, please jump in if you have anything you'd like to add.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Okay, one more. So goal number 4, library visibility, and that is all about marketing and communication and raising awareness of the library and its amazing services. For those of us who met in person this summer, it is very common in communities across the United States for the library not to have as high of awareness as we might like. And so we really want to make a concerted effort to educate residents, not just about Corona services, certainly about those, but to say, help folks realize that, hey, a modern library is doing a whole bunch more than being a place to check out books. So we want to create that awareness. We also want to help create awareness of the value of library services, and that can be communicated circulated X dollars worth of books. It provided X dollars worth of educational programming to children and teens. It provided X dollars worth of technology access. Sometimes adding that monetary value can really help people recognize that, whoa, hey, this is a really valuable thing, and I want to get over there and check it out. We definitely want to raise awareness of the library and its services through marketing and communication. We believe that this will help increase circulation for the electronic collection. We do think there's a little bit of space there for the electronic collection, especially if we join a network or consortium, as we talked about a few slides ago, but to increase circulation there. And then also emphasize sustainability. That is such an important part of the world that we live in, and libraries can really be they can help support the city in that way, and they can be leaders in education when it comes to sustainability. So that is a very quick overview of the strategic plan and the process that we had to get here. I see myself twice on the screen, and so that's kind of terrifying. Does anyone have any questions, any comments? Again, we just appreciate all the support and all that you all have done very much. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Trustees, does anybody have any comments or questions?
Hi, Debbie. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Charisse. One thing that we've been talking a lot about in our previous meetings was, as you mentioned, the gap in the number of books we have per capita. But something that I hadn't considered until we kind of discussed it this evening, or you brought it up this evening, is how does our expansive electronic collection impact the number of books physical books we need per capita? Does it impact it at all, or are they totally separate, or is it something that because adults tend to use electronic books more often, that we really need to focus more on that and less on the physical purchase of books?
As many library folks as you might meet, you might find that many opinions on that question. But I can say that we approach the collection, and I believe that Danielle and her team do as well, as one big thing. So the physical and the electronic collections all go together. And as many people as we meet in Corona or other communities, we'll hear preferences for physical versus ebooks. And so in library, we always say, I know you guys say this too, we don't care what you read. We're just glad you're reading. So we don't think that in this moment, let me be very clear about that, in this moment, or let's say in the next year or two, that that demand for the electronic collection is such that we don't want to continue to focus on the physical collection. What we did here in Corona is that folks want more books on the shelves. So our patrons now are telling us that they want to be able to come in the library and do some browsing and be able to find titles that are interesting to them. Over time, we do think there is capacity for electronic circulation to grow, but we also believe with a larger collection, physical circulation will grow as well. Does that answer the question fully?
It does. Thank you very much.
I'm Shirley Toller Hayes. Were audiobooks included in that? I know a lot of people like audio because Corona's a commuting town, and I would think that the audiobooks would be a huge part of the collection.
Absolutely. So we count audiobooks as part of the electronic collection. But yes, in a commuter town like Corona, they're super important. I'm a big audiobook fan too.
Aisha, any questions?
No, I don't.
I just had a couple based on for the timeline. So on, I believe, it was on page. It's on page 9 of 34 in the strategic plan. And it's expand on participation in schools and community educational events, and then enhance communication with teachers, media specialists to promote and use students and teacher cards. And then it says timeline, fiscal year 2028. That just seems like, to me, that's something we should already really, really be doing. Why is it that, and it doesn't seem like it's that difficult of something that we have to have new programs or anything like that. So why is it that that timeline is a little bit further out?
Well, you bring up a great point that the library is already doing that. So the library already is participating with schools and partnering with schools. So this plan is fairly ambitious, especially when we think about the collection, when we think about the physical library and some of the work that is going to be taken underway. So I don't think taken underway, pardon me, will be undertaken. So that is why we pushed it out a little bit to fiscal 28, just to give Danielle and her staff some time to really be thoughtful and take that on in an expanded way. But that doesn't mean, and Danielle, please feel free to chime in here, but that doesn't mean that that's not happening currently. Did I say that accurately, Danielle?
Yes, you did. So we continue to do things like school tours. We had our librarian luncheon this past September. So we are still doing things that touch on these. I think in 28, that's when that's just going to be just a normal part of our process and also be a little bit more robust.
Does that answer the question fully?
Yes, thank you. And then my next question is, would you be able to expand more on, it's page 16, for staff training for the library welcoming those with invisible disabilities such as PTSD, autism, sensory needs, et cetera, with collaborating with Culture City?
Absolutely. So Culture City is an organization that actually Library IQ's parent company, LS&S, worked with in Osceola County, Florida. And so that library was the first, I believe, sensory inclusive library in the state of Florida, and they did that by working with Culture City. So Danielle collaborated and spoke with the library director there, learned a little bit about it, and then since then has had meetings with Culture City and learned how they worked, and so we'll be implementing some of those the programs that they offer. Danielle, did I say that one correctly?
Yes, you did. So currently, we are hoping to, if this is the route that the trustees and the city council wants us to go on, we're currently planning on engaging in that training during our all-staff day, which is in February. It's the only time of the year that all of these library staff members can be together, and that's how I can ensure that I have at least 80 to 100% of people, my staff, sorry, of my staff taking the certification and passing.
Thank you so much. I just think that that is just such an amazing program that we're going to be able to offer our community. I'm very excited about that, and can't wait to let the school district know once it's up, so they can let all their kiddos know that are on IEPs and have. I love invisible disabilities. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you so much. This is amazing. I know that you've put a lot of work into this. Everybody has. And it's a very exciting our direction that our library is going in.
Definitely. Well, as I said, it's been a real pleasure. We are not going anywhere. And so if anything comes up, we're always glad to engage, and talking and working with Danielle is a pleasure. So please don't hesitate to reach out anytime. I will let you guys go, but it sure was great meeting you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye.
Moving on. Ms. Backus, do we have any public speaker cards for that strategic
No
plan?
speaker cards.
Okay. Moving on to the library report from October 2024. Danielle.
That's okay. I'll go ahead and actually turn it over to Danielle in just a moment. I just wanted to briefly introduce the report. So we are full swing into our fall activities. We've had a lot of exciting things going on. The library team did a terrific job with some of the Halloween activities and events that they had programmed earlier this month, and we have some really exciting things lined up for the month of November. A few things that we're going to be touching on in the library report this month is our zip book program, Career Online High School. The team's going to talk a little bit more about that and what that entails. We're also going to provide some information about our mystery book club and some upcoming events that we have planned during the month of November. Of course, we have to touch on our top titles for the month of September. I know the trustees are always interested in hearing about that, and we'll be speaking on the top titles for our fiction, nonfiction, and ebooks. We also have, after a long period of planning and construction, our Heritage Room is going to be having its grand opening next week. We're very excited about that. The team's been working really hard getting all of the items moved up into the Heritage Room and getting it ready for the opening. So Danielle is going to speak a little bit about what they're doing there. And then we have some upcoming agenda items and activities that we wanted to highlight as well. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Whittington to provide the report.
Thank you, Director Finch. Good evening again, Madam Chair and trustees. So got an exciting library report. I did want to mention one of the things was zip books. At the last council meeting, Councilman Speak actually pulled it and was telling people how exciting zip books are and wanted everybody there to know about it. So I thought I could highlight it here as well. So our zip books program is supported by the California State Library. We actually received a we used to receive a grant from them, and we're able to purchase books that our patrons want and mail them to their homes. You can request up to 3 items a month, and then we just need the book back before you can request a new item. And it is limited to those with a Corona mailing address. And the reason why we did that is that we were noticing people from Riverside and Temecula kind of using the program. There are libraries in their areas that have this program, so we wanted to make sure that our Corona patrons have access to that first. So yeah, you can go through, actually there's a link on our website. You can also go on our catalog and request it. Last month, and just wanted to remind everybody that it's for ages 18 and up. It's going to be, it's continuing on in our corner room. The next book that we together is The Violin Conspiracy, and there was actually free copies at the adult desk while supplies last if you are interested in having a personal copy for yourself. And it starts at 6:30, and we can't wait to have more people come and join us. So some upcoming events I think might be interesting to you. Spooky Steam is going to happen on October 29th, starting at 3. That's ages, I believe, 10 and up. Yes. And then on the 31st, we're going to have our Halloween story time. That is also going to be a combined preschool and little one story time. We encourage you to come, dress up, and just make sure that you don't have a full mask. That's the only thing. But come, dress up, hang out, and the children get to trick or treat afterwards throughout the library. We're also having an event for teens called Hack That Painting. So if you ever wanted to know what it would be like for the Mona Lisa to have a backwards hat, this is the event to go to. So you can take a famous painting and change it up in any way that you want to. And then lastly, we have the fall felt garlands for grades 7 through 12. And then you can come and learn how to create one of those. Our top September title for fiction is Blue Shoes and Happiness. I was shocked when I saw that, but hey, I love it when anything can dethrone Pokemon. So, so for the our nonfiction titles, a lot of them, actually the top 4 were all primary phonics. So these are all books for people to come in and to use and learn how to read and to teach their children how to read as well. And then lastly, our top ebook for the month of September was Deep Down by Lee Child. This is our calendar of events for the month of November. I also wanted to note that Read to a Dog is tomorrow, and they are dressing up in their Halloween costume best. So if you are able to come join us at 2:30, they have the cutest little Halloween parade down our main corridor, and you can't miss it. So we did want to mention that the Heritage Room Grant reopening is happening on October 28th at 10 a.m. We are going to have some light refreshments. The mayor will be there to give a few words and do some ribbon cutting. And then we get to all go upstairs and see all of the wonderful local history that has not really seen the light of day for a very, very long time. So come up, and we hope to have things that you can interact with, and potentially people as well. Items, we're gonna have Halloween at the library. Like I said, come dressed up. I'll give you a candy bar. On the 21st, we're gonna have a family sing-along event. It's a literacy event where you can bring your family, and I believe they're gonna have little fake microphones for everybody to sing into. We're gonna have some snacks. It's gonna be a great time. So if you wanna come and sing The Little Mermaid, we're gonna have that there. On the 26th, I think that's wrong. We're going to have our Library Board of Trustee meeting. No, that's right. And then I believe it's the 19th, sorry. I knew that looked wrong. November 19th is the Library Board of Trustees meeting, and we will have the Friends of the Library report there. And then also we are going to be closed for Thanksgiving and also the Friday, that Friday. So we will actually reopen on Saturday instead of Friday. So, any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question, and it's related back to the strategic plan and the budget combined, and I thought this was something to ask. You know, the budget was already set. They were emphasizing collections so much, and books and electronic collections are very expensive. Has that been reflected in the new budget to help those programs?
We haven't begun with the budget planning process with the city as of yet. The early starts is in November, and then we gather together and present it to the city manager and the city manager's office. And so we haven't gotten there just yet, but it's also, we need to realize that we need to figure out ways that we can join consortia so that we can grow our numbers and not necessarily grow our budget. But Director Finch, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, so we do request funding for books, both for the physical collection as well as the electronic collection in every budget cycle. The strategic plan will kind of help shape our budget priorities and our requests for the next cycle. And as Ms. Whittington mentioned, we start planning for that around November, December, and then it goes through the winter months. And then we have our spring financial workshop in April, usually, where we put those requests formally through to the council. So we will, based off of what comes in the strategic plan, be reflecting that in our budget asks. And of course, the physical collection is something that is always a priority for us and trying to grow that as well.
So I know the Friends always give some money for books, but it's not much compared to what they're talking about in the total budget. So does it come from the city or grants or what?
So it's a combination of both. Our physical collection budget, typically the city provides a portion of that. I believe it was 20 or 40,000 in the last budget cycle, and then we usually get an amount from the Friends that they donate very generously each year. So it's a combination of both, and then we also get additional funding, as Ms. Whittington mentioned, through Zip Books that helps grow our collection as well. That's a grant-funded program. So it's a combination of all areas.
So you do think, though, because the strategic plan emphasizes that so much, that may be changed, the amount is, I guess.
So we're going to use the strategic plan as a justification for our budget requests, and we will continue to advocate for that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question for the Mystery Book Club. Do they check out the book at the adult circulation desk? Or is there a book club kit for it, or they?
Yeah, there are free copies available at the adult desk. So if people want to come and participate, we do have that available to them.
Okay.
Just a couple, one quick question and then an aha moment, I guess. Did you say that tomorrow's Read with a Dog is the little doggy Halloween costume? I just wanted to double check. I'm going to send my child that way. I thought it was really interesting this month on the September fiction titles that there were 2 adult books on there. Because I don't feel like we typically get that. It's very, very typically kids' books, graphic novels at that. But then I thought it also interesting that in the past, for a long time, we saw a lot of Colleen Hoover books and stuff in the ebooks, but this time it's all, with the exception of Hunger Games, it's all male authors, male thriller type authors, or crime, whatever you want to call that. And so when we do our ebooks, does it collect any kind of data about who we're appealing to at that time and who the average reader of that particular book would be, so that we could also, I don't know, I guess like market to other groups that we may not be reaching?
Yeah, it does pull. So from Library IQ, we are able to pull like some of the basic demographics for the people that they're reaching. But we're also Library IQ, the program. See what other libraries are using. To see what other libraries, what are popular in other libraries as well with those same demographics. So we're able to use all of those to help with evidence-based acquisition.
The ebooks, they're from Hoopla and iCloud?
Yes.
I have a question. So for the strategic plan and then for last month as well, when we made a recommendation to go to city council, do you include typically in your staff reports our feedback that we give?
Yes, we do. So there is a section in the staff report when an item goes to a commission or a board prior to the council meeting. There is a section in the staff report that states when the item went and then what the action was on behalf of the commission or board.
So for the strategic plan, can you please let them know we would like more funding for books? And that we cannot always rely on the Friends, because the Friends' money, and I stated this at the city council meeting to them, but I just want to get it in writing, that the Friends, it's all based on their fundraising endeavors, how many books they're getting at the shop to sell. And we are so very, very grateful for everything that they do for us. But I feel like that we really depend on them more than we should. And I think it would be great if we can get additional funding. Thank you. Anything else?
I actually have a comment. I forgot to mention this because microphones and stuff, but this is actually Friends of the Library Week, and I just wanted to say thank you so much to the Friends for all of their support this year and in previous years and many years into the future. And so it was great seeing Jackie Young out there dressed as Dorothy and wanting people to come in and do a scavenger hunt and all of the fun things that they have scheduled for this week. So if you have time, make sure you go to the library and thank your friends. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I would like to add to that for everybody that's watching, because I know that there's so many that are watching online right now, that how important our little bookshop is and how much it truly supports us for our funding for our programs and our books. And maybe one of our Friends members, since it's Friends Week, could just highlight the amount that they have donated, and that has come, a lot of it has come from small just purchases at the gift shop, the bookshop in the library.
You know, the Friends Bookshop always amazes me. Just to give you a couple ideas, I'll have a volunteer say, oh, I worked 3 hours and I sold $450 worth of books. And I'm thinking, they're $1, they're $2. 10 cents. And less. And the Friends, they work very hard at the bookshop. They have started doing more. They've put things online and things that are more valuable. They have silent auctions for it. So, you know, it's not just the bookshop, but the bookshop really plays a big role. In fact, I've always wondered, I was in there the other day, and I see people buying all these books, and we hear about how people don't check out as many books as adults as the children. And so I sometimes wonder, not that I want to take anything away from the Friends, but why are they buying the books and not going and checking them out? Do you know, did they hear anything in the strategic plan about that?
I don't know, but I think it's sometimes with preference, people just like to have their own book. It's nice to have your own book to make annotations in it and little notes here and there. Some, and this is, I'm speaking of myself right now, that some people will buy from the bookstore, which I've done, to fill up their little free libraries in front of their yards. So that's probably one of the couple of reasons why people come in and especially adults come in and buy their books.
Okay. And the other thing, just so you know, we have some new board members, and they're very active in thinking of activities out in the community. And the community outreach person was telling me the other day that at the Halloween weekend thing, she gave out all 500 books that she had with her. And so, they're going to be at the tree lighting in December. And they're also, I don't know, Danielle, if they've spoken to you about this, but they're going to have Santa in the library with photos available. So just so you know, Friends are very busy. And I know one of the things in the strategic plan talked about community involvement. And I think the Friends are going to play a big role in that.
Just to piggyback on that, thank you for the praise. I think on behalf of the Friends of the Library, thank you very much for the praise. We love what we do. That's why we do it. And yes, we are very dedicated to getting out into the community and doing more events to bring people into our library. I like that our Friends has become it's become more of a collaborative endeavor between the Friends and the library instead of one versus the other or vice versa. And so, yes, unfortunately for Danielle, we're driving her nuts now because we're like, hey, we have this idea, and what about this? And can you check and see if the room's available for this night and that night? Praise to Danielle and the library staff because they humor us and they check on all of those things, and Danielle always gets back to the board with the laundry list of things that we've asked for, and in record time as well. And so we really appreciate that. And for example, with Jennifer and her team as well, with the ReaderCon, we came to them with an idea, and they grew that idea for us and with us, and we were able to put on an event that we hope to be an annual event and something that truly was a labor of love. And it's like a wedding, it's all the months and months of planning and the time it took to set up, and then it was over, and everyone was gone, and all we have are pictures. But it was just, again, the library is just being so kind to us, and so that's why we get to continue what we're doing. So thanks, Jamie, for the praise.
No problem. Okay, moving on. Trustee communication, does anybody have anything? No? Okay. I do. Oh, okay, sure thing.
I would like to thank the city of Corona for providing us with the opportunity to attend the California Library Association Conference. This was just an amazing jam-packed conference where we were able to interact with other librarians and people from other libraries. I mean, they had, for the 3 days, there were meetings and seminars from 9 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon. We had learned about adult literacy, book banning. We learned about things that other libraries are doing. They have cooking classes where they provide cooking kits for children to learn to cook at home. It was just an amazing opportunity. We met so many people, and I joined a couple of groups. So just thank you for the opportunity, and it was just amazing.
Yes, and I attended it, and I would second Shirley. It was really interesting, and as a trustee, it was nice to hear how Corona's doing a lot of things that other libraries maybe aren't doing as much of. And like Shirley says, there was just lots of good energy there, a lot of devotion. There were not only the sessions, there were vendors. And so you could see some things that were new out there. So thank you to the city of Corona for sending us to that.
All right, fantastic. Yes, I'm very thankful that was an option, and I hope that it becomes an annual event. All right, meeting is adjourned at 6:26. Thank you.